Hi, and welcome to the I Teach Myself podcast. My name is Matthew Miniman, and this is episode 131. What can the movie Anaconda teach us about security posture? And today, with me this morning, I think I have somebody tailed in. He walked in right behind me. The man trap didn't catch him. Jerome Altoff, he's here.
I am very, very skinny, and Matthew holds the door for far too long. For all this talk about cybersecurity, physical security, out the freaking window with this guy, let me tell you.
Well, it doesn't help that that I'm still trying to wake the fuck up. But that's okay.
Okay, yeah. That excuse will pass the Senate commission.
Well,
Probably, actually.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the conversation, Jerome, you have a disclaimer you have to say.
Yes, sir, I do. So anything I say, any opinions I express, any noises I make are explicitly my own and don't represent anybody or anything else, or any organizations that I work with or associate with. Cheers.
And again, this is a satire podcast, so all things said in here are generally in good fun, and in good faith, and for entertainment purposes only. So, Disney, Microsoft, who else? Nintendo, eat my ass.
Hey, so with that being said, the unsatirical part is please listen to your CISOs.
I'm not gonna.
They're not the court jester of the CEO room.
Sometimes I feel like it. Jesus
Watching
Christ!
Matthew's face right now is amazing.
Can you see? Can you see the vein on my forehead? Anyway,
hat with bells. Anyway,
so Anaconda, the movie. Let's get this on topic. All right, Anaconda, the movie. If you haven't seen it, God, you're probably a better person for it. I don't know. It's a 1997 movie about a snake that eats people. Okay, actual anacondas are these gigantic snakes. They can measure up to 150 feet in length, maybe more. They have yet to find one that is bigger than that. But so it's like 150 foot in length, is the largest one we've seen. And this movie, Anaconda, is about a group of folk who are in the Amazon rainforest looking for the I don't know, what do you want to call it?
I don't remember what their point was. It was some silly plot device.
Yeah, but magical. I don't know, mystical. They believe this anaconda is magical and mystical and very rare, very endangered snake. And
point of order, I think this should be a crossover with Harry Potter Episode 1. Harry Potter releases the anaconda, and then
that's Voldemort's Horcrux, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. No tip, because nose. Anyway, the whole concept of the movie is that they're looking for this fucking anaconda to photograph and do a story for National Geographic, and it's a bunch of people, including Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson, or whoever they're pretending to be. Let's just all admit that Owen Wilson is really just Owen Wilson in every fucking movie he's in.
Yeah. Well, and this is a particularly fine example of his acting.
Yeah, exactly. This is a particularly, interesting movie for the fact that, it's got like a 25 Rotten Tomatoes rating. So you base your judgment on movies for that type of thing. I don't know.
You absolutely should filter Rotten Tomatoes in that direction to get your best quality comedy.
That's right. Anyway, the whole like trigger point of the movie is that they find the anaconda and it apparently starts hunting them, meaning it's going after them. So you got this giant snake that's going after these various folk, and I think the first person it kills is Owen Wilson. Not who I would choose to kill first, but it's a choice.
Debatable.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put my anaconda at Owen Wilson. wraps its body around his neck and just swallows him whole. Anyway, even though there's a medical emergency before this anaconda starts hunting them, they get warnings about this anaconda hunting them, and they still continue down this road to basically try to get images and stills of this snake. And they basically ignore all warnings, and they never do anything about it until they kill the thing. They actually kill this highly endangered magical snake that has wandered in, or that they've wandered into the realm of. They literally they literally stab it with a pickaxe and light it on fire.
They made the snake's home safe for humans.
That's it. That's it.
The snake.
Oh, don't worry. There was a bunch of babies there.
I feel like you are leaning into something. A group of people were warned of stuff, and they proceeded ahead on a drunken revelry, despite all the warnings, and then got warned some more, and then had some minor incidences and breaches and eatings, and then they continued forward, and then everything blew up, and then they killed something with a pickaxe. I feel like you're leading into something with cybersecurity.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, you're hitting it on the head. You're spoiling my segue. You're with the pickaxe, and so this is a really good example for cybersecurity. And Jerome, you and I had a conversation about this a few days ago, where we were talking about the approach of cybersecurity. This actually came about from an article basically talking about Claude Mythos, and how Claude Mythos is an example of how exploitation and proof of concepts and the release of exploitable vulnerabilities is basically, if there's a vulnerability that shows up, an exploit will show up much quicker now. It used to be years before an exploit would show up for a normal vulnerability. Now we're seeing that vulnerabilities are being exploited much quicker because Mythos is a thing. And the whole article was basically how to protect yourself against that. And I took issue with the article because it basically isn't telling you anything. What it's telling you to do is everything that you should already be fucking doing. And it's to me, it was insane. I'm not going to go through the list, but it was like 7 items, and they're all very normal things you should be doing, like making sure that you update your shit, making sure that you've got a honeypot in your environment, a canary, whatever you want to call it. Like, there's a lot of lists.
Stuff and being segmented so you can recover. Like, we laughed initially before we started arguing about it, because it's like, this is everything a modern, mature society architecture should be doing. And the one section they had where they're like, oh, and now that AI modeling is going to be in, this section needs to be filled in by people. It was like, things that need to be done, we don't know yet. It's like, but it's like, these are all the things UCISO has been telling you to do, or MITRE, or OWASP, or everyone who's actually practicing and thinking and designing stuff with security in mind. Nothing has changed with Mythos.
Yeah. Well, the article
architecturally, nothing has changed.
The article treats this cybersecurity threat. It basically is like, well, before you should have been treating the cybersecurity threat like a flaccid anaconda. Like, you should just be treating it like it was, like you had time.
Growl.
Yeah, and now you've got this raging anaconda coming at you. Now you really should be paying attention and doing all the things at the right time. And as a security practitioner, it's frustrating to hear that and to see that, because it's like, no, you should have been listening to me the whole time. Do the thing. I cannot stress enough. So anyway, the point of discussion for Jerome and I was that was basically around the concept of, is this feasible to do for in every environment? And so for Jerome's organization, he's part of an organization that has a very strict and defined and very very well concrete methodology of implementing change. And it's like having a giant icebreaker ship in the Anaconda River, or in the Amazon River. Sorry, Anaconda River. That's a different thing. In the Amazon River, and so it's unwieldy. It's difficult to turn around, and there's not really a whole lot of change that's there. So for organizations like that,
but there's also no ice because the ice is scared of it.
That's it. That's true.
Yeah, nothing to do with climate.
Shrinkage. Ice. No. Shrinkage. Cold water. Anyway.
No. What? It's warm water. Very earthy. Mm-hmm. That prow. Anyway.
Yeah. So organizations like yours, Jerome, where there is there are a lot of layers of control necessary to do things. That's really where there's a difficulty in the ability for you to effectively make change in an environment, right?
I mean, I think that's an easy thing to point to.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's easy to say, oh, you have a lot of layers, so you're slow. I have seen times when a lot of layers didn't slow things down. They just help actually maintain stuff. I've seen it where one layer will stop every action. The scale is definitely tipped towards more layers the slower you go. Absolutely. Because you have humans in the loop, and humans like to go and take bathroom breaks and chat around the water cooler and fuck off, generally.
Go chase anacondas.
By the way, absolutely. Because when you raise anacondas, they go from little anacondas to bigger anacondas. Anyway, with just proper nurturing. The point, like, and when I say people, I'm part of people, dude. I love hanging out the water cooler. It's so fun. But like we generally we get distracted and all that, and I think the biggest thing is that we don't necessarily have adaptive thinking. We get stuck into routines, and we have 6 tickets to look at this week. We'll look at them on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem, and I don't know that scale, like Matthew's kind of hinting at it. Like, I work at a place with it's a large enterprise. Scale can make it so that it is much more obvious to see non-adaptive thinking or rigid processes and all that. But non-adaptive thinking happens with, Mr. Rubberducky's Flower Emporium with one web page. He doesn't necessarily think that it's security first, like build it out. But
he's got a hat.
He does. I am literally holding up a little rubber ducky. But I think, honestly, like, Matthew and I got heated at each other because I was like, well, realities and resources and blah, blah, blah. And Matthew's point was, if you build it right to begin with, it's a lot less resourcing and a lot less pain. And he's 100%.
Yeah. Right. So the concept is that if you are doing your security the right way, and you're not the question of resources should never come into play, because my argument is that with a proper layered security platform, a single incident should never take you out. A single risk, a single threat should never take you out, because you should be having an environment where either your data is properly secured, stored, and protected, or your cloud environment your environment reduces the exposure of a single platform or single incident down to as little as possible. That doesn't mean that there's a silver bullet here. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you can magically fix your environment by just waving a wand at it and saying, "Yep, that's secure." What I am saying is that if you structure your environment properly, and not just the environment from a perspective of like, yes, we have firewalls, yes, we have an EDR, yes, we have MDR, yes, we've got XDR, we've got the DRs, we've got the DR everywhere, including disaster recovery. We've got Rs, we got all the Rs. That's a different episode. Even if you have all the R's, your approach is beyond that, because it also has to be conceptual, and there has to be processes in place as well. For instance, Jerome brought up a CI/CD platform where somebody is just dumping packages into a Docker image and not doing anything to maintain them, not doing anything to reduce the exposure that Docker container has, not reducing the exposure that application is presenting. They just keep loading more and more shit on there. That's not proper CI/CD, and you should know that.
Yeah. So to dumb that down, because Matthew just said it in Smarties, like
that's a candy.
The entire concept. What's that?
Smarties is a candy.
And I'm looking at it. Look at that candy. Ooh. It's a spicy candy. Anyway, if you can't tell listening, we have video now, so this is even more distracting. I keep staring into my eyes. Anyway, I mean,
I faded it out.
I might be a narcissist, but I'm too busy listening to myself. Wow. Yeah, so the whole concept of containers is that you took everything you needed. Like you have a VM, and everyone knows those terms. Everyone's heard containers. But the concept, the logic, the thinking behind it, and I think, Matthew, this is your point. Like, if you have a secure mindset, you're going to do certain things. And one of those is containers as an adaptation. It's I have a program, but it has other dependencies. So I could build a whole machine or a server or a VM or something to run this thing that I need for business or for security or for there's a need. Or I could put all the libraries, dependencies, and everything in one little box, put a lid on that box, and then the Docker or whatever orchestrator for containers will lie to the box and say, outside of the box is everything you expect. So shut up and do your job in the box. And the box is like, yeah, cool. And you push it out into production. And users use it, bots use it, whatever. It does its thing. But from an architectural and security mindset, that container is corrupted the minute you deploy it. You're like, okay, that thing has a time to live of whatever before I replace it with another idempotent image of itself. And the idempotent is important because that way everyone else can rely on it. It's going to do exactly what you said it's going to do every time, and you're going to take it out back and shoot it as the new one comes in the front door. The old one's going out the back. And that reduces your risk significantly because, okay, someone got into it. It's gone at the end of its time to live. Or by the time they even figured it out, you've replaced it with another. So even if they corrupt your current container or box, they're only able to deal with it or exploit that vulnerability for the window of the time to live of the box. Meanwhile, you, as an organization, are evolving, adapting, growing, changing, and you're like, oh shit, that box either doesn't do everything we need it to do, or we need more new stuff, or we need to patch it. And so you are building new boxes. But what you aren't doing is leaving that box in production and adding more things to the same thing, increasing the security risk, increasing the vulnerabilities, increasing the complexity, and making it so you don't even know how to maintain the motherfucker. And then wondering why it gets exploited like a freaking operating system, which is, as we all know, a primo target.
Well, and the big, I think the big challenge here is that it actually goes on beyond that, and sort of the preparation stage of all of this. You can't just go after an anaconda, man. You gotta put it on. You gotta have a date first. Come on. You
Still ready for something serious, and then you brought the snake back in.
Well, but it's always there, man. Just
making a good point. But it was funny.
But it goes beyond, because you have to prep for this sort of thing. You have to understand how your environment is laid out, and you have to identify risks as you build your environment. And I think that's one of the biggest failings of a lot of organizations, is that they deploy solutions without fully understanding what the fuck they're doing. And I'm going to point this out because this happened quite a bit. We've seen this a ton of times in recent years with Excellion, with Go to File. These are solutions that people deploy, and they're like, "Oh, they're secure because it's a platform that we pushed, and we don't have to worry about it. We can just leave this." We can leave this treat out there, and the anaconda won't eat it because it's in an area where it's on land. The anaconda swims in the water. It's on land, so the anaconda's never going to get it. And it's like, no, you're not really properly planning this thing out, or you don't understand what the risks are associated with this. And so, like the Excellion thing and Go to File, all of those were a vulnerability in the authentication platform, including the fact that they didn't have multi-factor authentication associated with any of it. That's what led to all of these compromises, and it's because the people who deployed these systems didn't plan appropriately for that sort of inflection. Now, I'm not saying that having multi-factor authentication or doing just one thing would have stopped any of these breaches, because I honestly don't know how all of them occurred, but what I am saying is that maybe if they also had proper alerting set up or proper monitoring set up on those servers, they would have been able to detect the breach as it occurred and stopped access, because that's definitely one of the things that we look for, or you should be looking for as a security practitioners, who's connecting to your shit and understanding that sort of thing. And when you build these things out appropriately on the front end, you don't have to worry about that compromise or that vulnerability really eating you as an anaconda, strangling you, getting a stranglehold around your body and eating it. But be that as it may, there's a lot of other things and ways to approach this. And so, my argument here isn't just that as organizations, you should ignore the fact that resources are limited, because resources are limited. I know there's not enough hours in the day. If I had fucking more time, I'd be able to do more shit. Yes, everybody needs more time. Everybody needs more things. But when you appropriately plan and understand your environment and understand what's going on, you can properly defend yourself. Just like in this fucking movie, there's no fucking reason these National Geographic fuckers needed to stay on this boat. There's no reason they needed to stay on the Amazon River. They at any point could have turned around. When there was a medical emergency, when Owen Wilson got his head bit by this snake, when they first saw it, when they were getting scared, they had the opportunity to turn this boat around and go away. Come back another day.
I would argue that they planned ahead because they brought pickaxes.
Well, I don't know if they brought the pickaxe.
Recovery solution. Oh, right. It was at the mine, wasn't it?
That's right.
Speaking of, how did a mine get built when the snake was there? Anyway,
I don't know. That so, maybe the mine, maybe it's like a mummy situation, and the mine woke up the anaconda.
I bet it woke it up.
Well, when you go digging around the corner, that's going to wake it up, dude.
Anyway, moving on. So I fully agree with you in principle. And looking back at the history of IT in general, like we see this problem. People build stuff and they're like, it's hard enough just to make it fucking work in the first place. Don't bother me with security. Let me just get it to turn on. And then they get exploited. And then they close the barn doors after the horses have escaped, to mix my metaphors. Or add one. 3. So like a lot of people don't start with security mindsets. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. Like if you're building a new business today, you could be really, really secure. Very, very minimally. Like go out there and be like, go ahead.
Well, to me, it's like, don't lube the Anaconda to let it into the tight places. You've got tight enough places where the Anaconda can't get you. Then it can't make its way in.
Oh my god!
No means no.
Yes, that is true. Everybody in the audience, both of you, no means no. But and even if you don't, if you're not building from scratch, if you're starting now and you have technical debt, which I would say is most everybody, either you have technical debt from the people who built the business before you or organization before you, or you have technical debt from the third-party vendors that you're using. Like technical debt's part of this job and part of this life.
Turn off your firewall because that's how we troubleshoot.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Like you said the words appropriate and building appropriately and building right. Those are very easy to say, and they are true. If you have the mindset of you will be attacked and you will be compromised. So how do you make it so the compromise is minimized? How do you have defense in depth? How do you have, like, a lot of these terms that people say and throw around aren't solved by just buying the next R. They're solved by actually having a picture of your architecture and getting the technical controls to match the picture.
Yep.
Like having your microservices, like what is your business model? How do you maintain yourself? Like HR, logistics, front end stuff. Like, okay, these are the big bubble pieces. How do they actually talk to each other? How do we minimize those so that we can actually look at the connections and track them? Like it's more, I agree with you, Matthew, 100% if you sit down and have somebody on your team thinking about the secure architecture and you fucking listen to them instead of just buying a vendor package and calling it good and going to the golf course, you can have a pretty robust, pretty secure thing that's as right as we know today.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Best decisions today. Tomorrow we're going to look back on and say, man, that guy was a fucking idiot. Why in God's name did they use a logging script that everyone's using called Log4j? Part of their libraries. That moron. Didn't he know that in 10 years it was going to be a major exploit? How dare they? Like, technical debt and the people before us were making the best decisions they could at the time, we hope, cause my counterpoint of resource management. I 100% am with you. Architecturally, if you have people thinking about it and structuring it as best you can, you really can reduce your cost and your time throughput of being secure. But you're still going to have to, like, which thing do we patch? When we find out that a new exploit came out and is breaking 7 things, which one do we need to fix first? Like Log4j is so bad because it was everything logs. So that little fucker got into everything all over the damn place. Like you'd have Program Matthew and Program Jerome, and you'd have like 20 instances of Log4j. And you just like, well, which subcomponent are we going to fix first? Like we will always have to deal with resource management and prioritization, but those pains can be massively minimized if you actually architect in a way that is secure mindset with a secure mindset.
Well, and so I'll use one last example, and this is something that actually came out in the last few weeks. there is a vulnerability for Defender where it's unpatchable in Microsoft Defender, Windows Defender for Endpoint. And it's an unpatchable vulnerability, quote unquote. Basically, the way the way the exploit works is it basically it uses Defender to compromise the system.
Great.
This was released by a ex Microsoft cybersecurity researcher who was laid off from the company, took issue with the layoff, and basically this was a revenge thing. He released this vulnerability, this exploit, in a revenge thing, and he released it with a proof of concept. So, it was basically 0-day instant exploit. And
Matthew, is it still a 0-day?
No, it is not. Thank you. Fucking, it's what, like a 14-day now? Anyway, the whole point being that if you buy into Microsoft's bullshit marketing, Defender's the only thing you need. If you spend enough money with Microsoft, Defender will protect you. And that's a problem because Defender is not good enough by itself. You need at least one more layer on top of that, an MDR or something that can analyze the operations as they're occurring and somebody alert you to the fact that this vulnerability was exploited. There are lots of products that do that, and a lot of them that work differently. If you don't know what the term MDR is, go research it. I'm not going to go sell you one. But on top of that, that's one layer. But it's not about adding another layer. You don't just need one more layer. It's also about crafting your infrastructure in an appropriate way so that one compromise, so you have one system that gets compromised in this manner. What does this person have access to, and what can they really fuck up when they get compromised? And how do we detect it? How do we shorten the length of detection? How do we lower the dwell time? And how do we increase our time to response or decrease our time to response? However you want to say that. Because those are the things, those are the ways in which you are going to be able to protect yourself. You're not going to stop the breach. You're never going to stop the hack because you are going to get hacked. That Anaconda is coming for you. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh my God. Yeah. Just saw that. Oh.
And it's it's going to get you. You're going to get hacked.
Yeah.
Accept that accept that as a rule of life. Now, instead of being like, well, let's prevent the hack, let's craft our shit so that when we get compromised, if we get compromised, it's not going to end up with our organization just completely falling apart. We've got disaster recovery, we've got response protocols, we know how this works, we know how our stuff is set. Understand your environment, reduce your technical debt as much as possible. Don't let vendors do whatever the fuck they want, and make sure that you have whatever monitoring and alerting you need in order to make your environment secure. Because what's going to happen if you don't do that? You're going to have an Anaconda come after you. It's going to eat your Ice Cube. It's going to eat your Jennifer Lopez. It's going to eat your Owen Wilson. And then it's coming for you.
He said all that with a straight face, people. I applaud his dedication to the bit.
I've always got a straight face.
This is a kid-friendly podcast. I'm not going to go there. Okay, so my kids are amazing, but also they're my kids.
Well, that's what happens when you let an Anaconda loose. Kids.
Don't let it.
Guys, before this devolves any further, I think that's all we got time for today.
Good call.
Okay.